This should look very similar. You should have this already in your notes. So remember, barrier. I don't know what I just did. So we're going to hope that it keeps working. So barrier, that's kind of what I thought, is draw the line through the equal sign. Draw the line through the equal sign. I'll move that here in a second. Distribute, that means multiply the outside number by each term in the parentheses. Combine, that means combine things that are like on the same side, okay? And we'll get to that here probably in a day or two. You won't necessarily as much have that right now. Same with distribute. We're going to kind of ease into this. We are going to still isolate the variable, which is the letter, from the constant, which is the numbers. Okay? Remember, opposite, with their arms, you make the plus, the minus, the multiplication, and the division, and then we check. Okay? So, let's look at this. It looks a lot worse than it is. I'm going to draw my barrier. Okay? Nothing has changed between that and what we did before. The thing that's different, if you notice, is we have letters on both sides. It doesn't matter which side you move them to, because y'all like to have them on the left side, we'll just move them to the left. So, just like before, I'm going to circle what I want to get alone. Now, because we're used to moving numbers, we can move the numbers first. So I'm going to move this to this side. Because it says plus 3, I'm going to minus 3. Notice how I put it underneath the 3 here, and I put it underneath the 7 here. Why do you think that would be? Exactly, they're in the same tree. They are like terms. So this leaves me with a 0 pair, and I have my 2x. On the right side, I have my x, and what's negative 7 or minus 7 minus 3 more, minus 10. Okay? Now, I still have to get my x's to be on the same side. So, just like before, we are not breaking things apart unless they're being multiplied. So just like how we did those welcome work, or that first page of these notes, I want to move the whole term, which means I either have to subtract it or add it. Because the x was positive, I'm going to subtract it. So that x makes a 0 pair, leaving me with negative 10. And what's 2x minus x? 1x or just x? So this is x equals negative 10. Okay? It looks a lot worse than it is. So I'm going to draw my line. There is nothing to distribute. There is nothing to combine. That's on the same side. So I want to isolate my variables. So I have to move the numbers to one side and the letters to another. This is a plus 1, so I'm going to minus 1. That leaves me with a 0 pair. This is a negative 5 or minus 5, minus 1 more, which is 6. This is what I want to get to be together on the same side. This is a positive 2x, so I have to subtract it. 5x minus 2x is 3x. Now here is where I am separating them. Before I moved the whole thing, now I'm separating. So because I'm separating the 3 from the x, I'm going to divide by 3. That gives me -2. So my answer here is -2. Okay, feeling a little bit more comfortable with it, I hope. Draw my barrier. We're gonna switch it up a little bit. For those who want to move the letters first, that's perfectly fine. So in this case, I'm going to move the letters first. Again, moving the whole term either means adding or subtracting. In this case, I would be adding. That leaves me with a 0 pair, -15 on the right side, and 4x plus 2x is 6x. -9 on both sides. Okay? And again, that may be more comfortable for you because if you move this first, you already have that two-step equation. It's not an extra step of looking at something that's brand new. So let's do another one where we move the letters first. Okay? So I'm going to draw my barrier. There is nothing to distribute and nothing to combine. So I'm going to subtract my 3x on both sides. That gives me -1x. -1 equals 8. Plus 1 on both sides. Okay. And now I'm going to divide by -1 on both sides. Again, it doesn't matter which one that you move first. Regardless, you would end up with the same answer. That's what's great about this. Also, just remember, you may have moved the whole term. That's why we subtracted 3x on both sides instead of multiplying or dividing. Okay? Only down here when we get to that last step did we do something else. Okay? So now we are looking at the last one for the practice together. I'm going to draw my barrier. There's nothing to combine. There's nothing to distribute. I want to get these to be on the same side. This is a positive 2x, so I need to subtract 2x. That leaves me with a 0 pair. What's 6x minus 2x? 4x. Circle my term with my variable. -3 on both sides. 4x equals -12. Now is when I divide because I am separating, I'm divorcing that 4 from the x. Okay, and that is what we are looking at.